Hi everybody, it's your friendly neighborhood alcoholic again, Recovery Dude. And I'm here today to talk about making amends. So this would be steps 8 and 9. And this is where I see the major recovery happening, at least it did for me. And 8 and 9 are such critical steps, at least they were for me. I noticed a biggest improvement in my recovery when I got through a complete 8 and 9. And we'll start off, I just want to read 8 and 9 to you. Step 8 is made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. 9 made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. Now, to start on 8 and 9, we have to go back to our step 4. So we made those two lists. And in those lists, on the first one, we had everything that we were mad at. And on the second list, everybody that was mad at us, or at least that we thought was mad at us. So the one side of that list, people that are mad at us, that we think are mad at us, a lot of those are going to make it to the step 8. Okay, so you'll have to talk to your sponsor and figure out which of those you can leave off, because not everything from step 4 is going to make it to step 8. If contacting that person is going to cause more harm than good, it's better to leave it off. And there were quite a few on my step 4 I did not move to 8 because I would have inflicted more harm by doing so. Now, the one big critical mistake that I made here is I kept those lists separate. Things and people that I was mad at, and then people that were mad at me. Now, when I look back on it, when I actually did it the correct way, if I look at the list of people that are mad at me, when you go to that next column that says, what was my role? What was my role in why this person is mad at me? I always played some kind of role as to why that person is mad at me. So essentially what happens is a lot of the things from that list make it back to the first list. So things that I'm mad at, okay, may also be some of the same things that, the people that are mad at me. And one mistake, I didn't cross those lists. I kept them separate. And as it turns out, a lot of people that are mad at me, I may also be mad at them. Because it's a two-way street. Something I did and something they did. So once I was able to mesh the two lists together and say, wow, there's actually quite a few people that fall onto both lists. That really helped me to figure out step 8. Who do I need to add to this amends list? And now I'm able to put together that full amends list of people that I need to contact and say what I was wrong for. That can be incredibly tough because for me, I was so mad at some of those people, I neglected to see my role in why that happened. And therefore, I left them off of my step 8. And I never reached out to those people. The last time I did it, when I actually looked at both lists, combined them together, and said, okay, I have a lot more people that need to go on my step 8. I had to look past what they did to me and just concentrate on what my role was in that situation. All I can do is clean my side of the street. I can't clean theirs. So as it turns out, they may end up apologizing to you as well, but it may not be the case. If that's not the case, I have to be okay with that. Because all I can do is apologize for what my role was in that situation, say that I'm sorry. Sometimes sorry is enough. A lot of times it isn't. But I make the best effort that I can to reach out to that person and be specific. Hey, this is what I did to you and I'm sorry. And don't even bring in what they had done to you. That never leads to a good ending. So focus on specifically your role, what you did, and what you want to apologize for. If the conversation goes farther and it gets down into, what happened on both sides, that can be resolved that way. But if it doesn't lean in that direction, I honestly would not steer towards what they did to you at all. That generally ends in a fight and never resolves anything, or very rarely resolves anything. At least that was my approach, or the way I was told to do it. Now, reaching out to these people, I mean, I have wreckage that goes back 20, 25 years. So I found it a little bit difficult to reach some of these people. And I used a number of different approaches. I used Facebook, Facebook Messenger. I did send a couple of letters, phone calls, emails, or meeting people in person. Some of my biggest amends that I had to make, I made it a point to see that person face to face to do that amends. And that won't be the best scenario in some cases. Your sponsor will be able to point out, maybe these ones should not be face to face, maybe a text message to start and see where it goes. But that multifaceted approach, trying to get to different people in different ways, and also knowing that person, what would be the best way to maybe contact them to head off any potential problems. Like if I know that person is very confrontational, I may want to hit them up with a text or an email first or Facebook and just test the water and see how I think it's going to go. So by using all those different approaches, I was able to contact a vast majority of my people that were on step 8. And some of them went better than others. I would say overall, they were generally positive, but some of them were not very positive at all. And I was a little worked up after them, but I had to just focus on I did the best I could and I have to move on. If that person doesn't forgive me, there's nothing I can do. I can't control the way they feel. All I can do is at that point forgive myself. If they're not going to forgive me, I can at least make an honest attempt to forgive myself and move on from the situation. Now, making a complete step 8, I highly recommend it. Again, go back to your step 4, combine those two lists, and really think hard about everybody you need to make an amends to and why you need to make that amends. I wasn't thorough my first 2 times working a step 8. And I'm not going to say the direct result of that was that I relapsed, but it definitely played a role. When I think back to my relapses and I say, okay, well, what did I do wrong? Where did I go wrong? It's always a combination of things that I did or didn't do. But one thing that definitely played in is I had not done a complete step 8. I still carried around so much anger towards certain people that it ultimately led me to drink. Because I couldn't get over the fact that they had hurt me in such a way. So when I can figure out my role, go back to them and apologize, believe it or not, for me, I actually felt better about the whole situation. I didn't even care so much as to what they did to me, because I apologized, and in some of those cases, that apology was accepted, and the person was really surprised that I even approached them about it. And because they were so happy that I apologized to them, I didn't even care what they did to me anymore. And some of these people I actually talked to again, believe it or not. I mean, it's been many years since this has happened that I haven't talked to them. And making that amends has got me back on a speaking basis with some of these people. So 8 and 9, I will tell you, when it comes to action in the program, 8 and 9 are the first time working through the steps that I had to take significant action. I had to write that list, know who to contact, and then figure out how to contact them, and then do it. And it's not going to be right away. I couldn't make amends to all these people right away, within a day, within a week. It took me upwards of a year, sometimes more than that, for the opportunity to present itself that I could reach out to these people and apologize for my role. But it's always a good idea to keep that list, keep that step 8 list as you go through those amends, scratch them off. Keep that list with you or keep it upstairs. And sometimes the opportunity will present itself to make that amends when you least expect it. But if I'm aware of what amends I need to make, I never know when that opportunity is going to come. Now, my first step 8 and 9, I probably worked at 6 years ago, 7 years ago. There are still things on that list that I haven't been able to take care of. But I just had an opportunity come up a month ago. Again, 7 years later from my first step 8. And I was able to make amends with that person. And it's awesome. It really is awesome. And I really feel that the separation between those that are going to get the program and it's going to be successful, and those that kind of fall off and maybe don't get the whole way through. Steps 8 and 9 are really going to be that break point, in my opinion, because steps 8 and 9 are not easy. They weren't for me. But once I got through them, at least in the majority, I definitely felt a whole lot better. So this is steps 8 and 9. If you have any comments, questions, or if you just want to say maybe I was off base about something, I feel free. I like feedback. So hopefully that helps somebody. I'm just hoping that you don't make the same mistakes I did, and maybe you can learn from what I did wrong. Thank you all for listening. Love you all.